Hello everybody! Today I thought it'd be fun if I went through my NEOPETS on my main account and told you a little bit of what I think about them or how I would like them to look eventually when I get the Neocash or I can find some trades at work. This is my main pet. I normally call her Plushy Flowers. In that exact way, Plushy Flowers. I adopted her from the pound. She was a split Usul, and I really liked the name. I thought it was fun. I believe it translates to plush fin or fluffy fin when I looked it up the first time, just on like Google Translate or whatever. And I imagine her. Well, she's my main Battle Dome pet. All the training happens to her. If I do kitchen quests, it's with her. She also does all the jobs and all of the fishing. I imagine her to be an alien. And she loves to explore outer space, all of Neopia, anywhere that she can go. And she especially loves Neocola. And that's sort of my vision for her, is that she's just this silly little alien, runs on sodas, flies around, all that fun stuff. This is a Cultaram. I adopted him on my second NeoPets account, I believe. So my one when I was a teenager, not as a young kid and not now as an adult, but when I was like about 14, 15, 16. I had him, and the woodland paintbrush, or his color for woodland paintbrush, for like him, Grundos, came out, and I said, I have to buy it. I need to buy it. And that was the first ever paintbrush I bought. I adopted him from the pound though, and I cannot remember what he was before that, unfortunately. But he's one of my favorites. I like him. I imagine him being an explorer of sorts, and a slorg lover. I believe his current pet is a Halloween rock, which is a gravestone. And I believe it says, rest in peace, Slorgmantha, instead of like Samantha. But I imagine he just loves learning about slorgs, loves investigating them. Sometimes if you gotta do what you gotta do, dissecting them, you know. And I just imagine he's all around just like a real nerdy, almost standoffish sort of nerdy. Where he's like, this is my main focus, this is what I'm doing. Nothing else matters right now, just this. And he's real fun. A Cultaram is what I call him. This is Omliv. He is a mutant Mirka, and I have a soft spot for any mutants. I imagine that he would be a groundskeeper of sorts. He's giving Dad from Matilda vibes, in the bad way. But I still love him for it. I imagine he's just a grumpy old man. He's like trying to upsell you stuff. He says, yeah, I mean, like, I'll bury the body if you want me to. Any cost you give me, I'll do it. It's gonna be 5 Neo points. I'll do it. You know, just real scummy. But I love him. He's adorable. This is Secretion. This is during the fairy quests last year. You got the fairy quest dip, and I was like, you know what? I have always wanted a snot pet. Let me make him. And I asked my husband, I was like, hey, can you come up with a name for me? I wanted to be a snot, and he came up with this name, and I was like, that is amazing. I love you so much. And I love him. He's just a nerdy little office boy, wants to work his job, but he just so happens to leave slime everywhere. And I believe in this background, it's like, oh, look, it's creepy. I think it's called like the abandoned NeoPets office or something. Or TNT office. I like to imagine that it's just after his typical workday. That's how he leaves it. This is Snord, a little baby Grundo. I imagine her to be a real booger picker of a child, if that makes sense. Just, you tell her something, she looks at you, she's got a finger in her nose, she's staring straight past you, and then she like toddles off. And you're like, okay, well, I hope you retained a little bit of what I told you, and she very clearly didn't. I think Grundos are adorable. Biggest Grundo fan over here. Love them so much. This is Vanicat. That's what I hope that's how I pronounce her name. And she's a mutant Corbat, and I love mutants. wish they had more clothing options. She doesn't have much of a customization right now of what I want her to look like in the future. Mutants don't have a lot of clothes options, and Corbats are already a pain in the butt to stylize, but I adopted her from the pound like this. It was on my second account, and she was already an incredibly smart pet. I think she cost like 1,000 NEOPETS to adopt. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to get her to her goal. So she reads all the books right now. She's obviously nowhere near anything. The closest thing I think she is to is booktastic books, in which I think she only needs like 20 books, but still, that's still so much Neopoints. But my idea for her is that she takes care of all of the babies that are on my account. And not just Snored, but I have like other alt accounts that I keep my pets on, which eventually I will get to, and eventually they'll be on my main, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm too scared to link Neopets right now. I'm sorry, Neopets team. I'm so nervous. If I lose any of my pets or anything, I would just have to quit forever. I couldn't deal with it. I love these pets too much. This is Excelia. She's a new addition. She came from last year's Fairy Quest. And I said, you know what, what's a pet that I've always wanted? I love Dargans, mutants, any sort of like little freaky thing. Love it. Instant fan. I don't really have much of a story for her, but her color scheme is just to die for. And on an alt account, I have a different rain-related pet, and I feel like they would just go side by side. I imagine she's like an anti-hero of sorts. Not a good guy, not a bad guy. Just kind of like got your own motives that you're doing. But love her. This is B. Rary, and she's not wearing her dress for some reason. I believe I was looking for a different one because I found out that one was super expensive. But regardless, she should have a big, long, flowing pink dress. My idea for her is that she is a princess who really just would rather be a knight. So she would have like this long dress, but she has like this sword, and I would love if like Neopets came out with a golden helmet that wouldn't cover her face completely, or like specifically Rookie antenna pieces. Ugh, lovely. And that's my whole little story with her. I imagine her to be a little bit snotty though. This is a Daniel. I found her at Lost and Found, and she was a baby Poogle, and I'm not the biggest fan of Poogles in the first place. And I especially wasn't a fan of a baby Poogle. So I kept her as a baby Poogle for a while, and she stayed on a lot of my alt accounts. And then the toy Poogle design came out, and I went, you know what, that's adorable. I had an iDog growing up. Let's make her just completely bright colors, bright design, party outfit. And she's not wearing the little skirt that I had picked out for her in this outfit, but it's also kind of hard to pick out clothes for her because you want to keep the identifiable, this is a toy dog. And if I did the certain outfit, it just felt like, okay, this is just a dog, a Poogle. So, that's my babies. I love them so much. I love thinking about them, drawing them, doodling them. These little virtual pets genuinely bring me so much joy, and I love everything. I love everything about them. I love their stories. I love them. I love Neopets. And maybe one day soon I'll go through my alt accounts and we'll look at some of them. Or maybe eventually I'll actually link NeoPass and get that going. But hope you all have a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video and seeing all my pets. And I hope you all have a good one. Goodbye.